Welcome to this week's segment of This is Springdale. We kick off explaining the importance of Gradebook and how to use it. Also, are you having trouble understanding your child's reading assignments? Do not worry. In just a few minutes, we'll tell you everything you need to know to help your child read. Let's get started. Hello, my name is Maribel Tapia, your host of This is Springdale. Let's start off by explaining Gradebook. Gradebook allows you, the parent, to stay more connected with your child's school life. Gradebook is a site that allows you to view your child's assignments, attendance, and grades. You can use Gradebook on your phone, tablet, or computer anytime, anywhere. Mr. James Jordan, a teacher in our Springdale schools, goes into depth and shows us how easy it is to log in and use. Let's see what he's prepared for us.
Hi, my name is James Jordan. I'm a teacher in Springdale schools, and I wanted to talk to you today about how you can see your son or daughter's grades. One of the great things about the technology we have is that you can look right into the gradebook of a teacher and see how your son or daughter is doing in classes. So what you have to do is go to sdale.org or www.sdale.org, and you'll get to a website that looks something like this, even though the pictures are changing a lot. To the right, if you put your mouse over parents and students and then go down to more, you'll click on that, and it'll take you to a page that if you scroll down, there's a little button that says eSchool Plus. It's kind of like electronic school. If you click on that, it'll take you to a page that looks like this, and you'll have to scroll way down on this first button to find Springdale schools, and it's a long list. Lots of schools in Arkansas. Then you'll enter your student's username or password, or the username and password that you got from the office. Your students log in all the time. So if you want to, you can just have them log in and show you their grades. After you enter that information, you'll push login, and that'll take you to the home page of this student's grades. On this page, it looks something like a calendar. All the classes are listed down the left side, and there's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And you can see where some of the assignments have been completed and the grade that your son or daughter got on those assignments. For more detailed information, you can push classes. This will show the current average that the student has in the class and all the assignments that made those grades. You'll notice here there's some grades that aren't listed because the teacher hasn't entered them yet. They may not have graded those assignments yet. I also wanted to explain some symbols that you might see here so you would understand what those mean. If you see a Z, that means the student has a 0 right now and it's being calculated as a 0, but a Z means that the teacher is expecting the student to make up that assignment. If you see an X, that means the student is excused from that assignment. It's not counting against them, and they do not need to make it up. If you ever have a concern about your son or daughter's grade in a class, I really want to encourage you to call the school and leave a message for the teacher to call you, or you can email the teacher. I hope that helps. Have a good day.
Are you having trouble understanding your child's reading assignments? Do not worry. In just a few minutes, we'll tell you everything you need to know to help your child read. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back on This is Springdale.
None of us ever think that we're going to become an amputee.
He was 6 months old when they told me that they had to amputate him.
My ACE facilitator, Mr. Worthy, he introduced me to 3D printing.
We had him using Tinkercad a little bit. He started thinking, what about this leg?
I had heard the story about Arkan printing a 3D leg for himself. POA, folks come here from all over the country, all over the world.
Over here is like a big family. It makes me feel like I'm home.
Someday I hope to be a fashion designer.
Someday I hope to be a basketball player.
Someday I hope to be a doctor for kids. I also have seven school board members. I have 7 school board members.
Working
Working to ensure my success. Thank you. We thank you for believing in us.
We thank you
For believing in us.
Welcome back to This is Springdale. Parent University Beginning Reading 101 not only gives parents the tools they need to help their child with their homework, it also gives them a better understanding of the techniques teachers use when teaching students how to read. Mrs. Linda Odle, instructional specialist, explains more about these techniques.
Welcome to Reading 101. I'm Linda Odle. I'm an instructional specialist in English Language Arts here in Springdale Schools. The purpose of this presentation is to give you a little background knowledge about how students learn to read. This will allow you to help your student with the work they bring home from school and give you an idea of the purpose behind some of your child's assignments. In order to read well, students need to connect sounds to letters. The first step in this process is to really grow the ability to hear the sounds of language. So play along with me, and we're going to do some activities that your student does in order to grow their sound knowledge. So let's begin. Say card. Add board at the end, and the new word is cardboard. Now you may see your student using hand gestures. Say card, add board to the end, and the new word is cardboard. Say bedtime. Now say bedtime without time. What is left? Bed. Okay, let's do some rhyming work. Rhyming is really important to beginning readers. Researchers say if students know about 8 nursery rhymes before they come to kindergarten, it's pretty much guaranteed that they will be proficient readers. Those old nursery rhymes like Humpty Dumpty, Old Mother Hubbard, Mary Had a Little Lamb, all those are super helpful to read and sing. Okay, so let's do some rhyming work. I'm going to say 2 words. You will give me a thumbs up if the words rhyme, a thumbs down if the words do not rhyme. Okay? Slow dog. Thumbs down, those words don't rhyme. Mean queen. Thumbs up, those words rhyme. Now, when we're talking about rhyming, we are talking about the sound. So words may end in the same letter or they may not end in the same letter, but if they end in the same sound, then they rhyme. Let's try another one. Red sled. Thumbs up. But both of those words ended with the ed sound. Big mop. Thumbs down. Those words do not rhyme. Okay, let's try something even a little bit more tricky. Say bite. Change t to k, and the word is bike. Say lake. Change k to t, and the word is late. Now, all of this work is done orally. We do not use paper and pencil. The student does not look at any written text while doing this work. We want to grow our students' ability to hear the very smallest sounds of language. We don't want them to rely on text. We want them to rely on their ears. Students also need to be able to do this work very quickly. We consider that they have mastered this sound work when they can answer the prompt in 2 seconds or less. Of course, this takes lots of practice. Students will typically do this sound work from kindergarten through 2nd grade. Some students may need a bit longer. At the same time, we are growing our students' ability to hear sounds. We are beginning to make the connection between the sounds we hear and the symbols that represent those sounds. In the classroom, your student will typically spend about 10 minutes doing sound activities and then spend about 45 to 50 minutes doing work with the alphabet and letter patterns in words, which will connect those sounds to letters. You can see that because we have worked on hearing the sounds of our language, I can hear k, a, t. Now I can put a symbol with the sound. The letter C often represents the k sound. The letter A often represents the a sound. The letter T represents the t sound. It is the goal of phonics for students to know all the possible letter combinations and the sounds they represent. They will learn to do this so fast, and it will become so automatic that they will soon be reading words in less than 2 seconds. For example, proficient readers will know that some sounds can only be spelled one way, the B in B, L for L, V for V. Proficient readers know that some sounds can be spelled many different ways. For example, the A sound in the word rain can be spelled with an AI. The A sound in wait can be spelled with EIGH. And the A sound in play can be spelled with the letters AY. Kindergarten students begin by learning the names of the letters and how to write them first. They need to know all the letter names and shapes with automaticity, that is, in 2 seconds or less, before they start learning the letter sounds. We expect that most kindergarten students will know letter names and be able to write each letter correctly by the end of the first semester of kindergarten. So the letter name and shape. Why? Let me go back. I think I skipped a slide. Oh, letter name and shape are taught first, and they're taught at the same time. So by the end of the first semester of kindergarten, my kindergarten student should be able to look at these letters and say F, T, R, M, E, A. If the teacher dictates the letter and the student can't see it, they should be able to write it. In kindergarten, we just want them to get the proper shape. It may not be the most legible. By 1st grade, it should be legible. So why do we teach the letter names before the letter sounds? We want to do 2 things. We want to build up their sound knowledge before we start attaching it to a symbol. The other reason is our brain loves to make categories and it loves to connect. So when I teach the letter name first, I'm essentially creating 26 file folders, a file folder for every single letter in my brain. And then whenever I learn something new about that letter, a different font, a different sound, a different combination using that letter, it goes in that file folder. And that helps our brain retrieve that information more efficiently. Now, not only are we learning the letter names, but we are learning the shapes of the letters. And we teach the letter shapes without a pencil first. We do lots of activities with our students to teach the shape of the letter. So the teacher may have the students writing in the air with their pointer finger. They may be tracing the shape on sandpaper or on the carpet. Sometimes we do fun things like we give the kids little lighters and we turn off the lights and we have them make the shape in the air with the lights. We often give them sand trays, although they're not sand anymore. These are the glass beads and a lot cleaner. And they make the shape of the letter in the sand. So those are all ways that we help them learn the shape before we give them the pencil. We expect that students will make the shape without a pencil about 40 to 70 times before they put it to paper. Doing these activities in many different ways with our sound and our fingers helps really make this learning sticky. So we also teach kids a verbal cue that they use every time they make the shape. So if I was in the sandbox, I was wanting to make the letter B, I would say down, up, around. And every time I have my students write that letter, I say down, up, around. Every time we make the letter B. Now the teacher's saying it and the kid's writing it. The kids don't need to say it. If they do, that's okay. We'll just gently say, now listen to me and you write quietly. Okay, and then they're going to put it to paper and we're going to use the same verbal pathway, verbal cue. Down, up, around. And this path, we say that same verbal cue every time we make the letter. In Springdale schools, we have an official verbal cue for every single letter. This is the way that the teacher will describe making that shape at every school in Springdale schools. And your teacher can get a copy of this for you if you want it. Now it's time to add the pencil. We've done all that kinesthetic work and we've done it about 40 to 70 times. It's time to add the pencil. It is of utmost importance that students learn how to hold the pencil properly. Do not let students leave kindergarten with a bad pencil holding habit. It is important for lessening hand fatigue. It is important because it allows students to see the line on a piece of paper when they're writing. So we teach kids using the flip method. And we're going to have them take their index finger and their thumb, and we're going to have them have the pencil pointed towards them, and we're going to have them pinch it. Okay? And then we're going to have them flip it back. And it will rest right here, and they'll put their middle finger underneath it, and this should give them the proper pencil grip. Okay, flip method. Pinch, flip, and I'm ready to go. Most children do not have the fine motor control or strength to hold a pencil using a finger grip until they are about the end of their 4th year, beginning of their 5th year. When children begin to use a finger grip, they will usually use all 5 fingers to grip a pencil. And then we're going to transition them about the end of 4 years, beginning of 5th, to the 3-finger grip. Now, you may notice that your child switches back and forth between 5 fingers and the proper pencil grip as they begin to practice writing. You will gently correct them. And you can also promote the strength in their fingers to do this because it does take a little bit of finger strength by doing Legos and blocks and puzzles, cutting with scissors and gluing. All kinds of fine motor activities will help this. Once students have learned the letter names and shapes, they are ready to learn the letter sounds. Your student will have learned the letter names in the order of the alphabet, but they will begin learning the sounds of letters in a different order. And this allows them to start combining letters to make words more easily. And they're going to go through a process. Once I know the sounds that each letter makes, that connection in my brain is firing super fast, and I can start sounding out words. So I'm going to see this word. I'm going to think of the sound that goes with each letter. T, a, p. I'm going to blend that together. Top. And then I can read the word. Top. And then I write the word. And students will need to practice this process many, many, many times. Now, there are words that occur so often at your child's reading level that we want them to know the words automatically. We want them to be able to read the word in 2 seconds or less. When students practice reading their high frequency words, we always want them to connect to the sounds of the language. This helps them learn the words more efficiently. You may have seen these words come home in baggies on index cards. Sometimes the teacher calls them sight words. I want to give you a way to practice those words with your students. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to connect to sound. So I'm going to ask my student to say the word. So say the word sat. Good. How many sounds do you hear in the word? Sat. Sat. 3. Write a line for each word you hear. Now, tell me, what is the middle sound you hear? Ah. Write the letter that makes this sound. Notice I started in the middle. I want to mix up the way that we analyze each one of the sounds. So I'm not always going to start at the beginning. I can sometimes, but sometimes I want to start in the middle, sometimes at the end, sometimes at the beginning. This requires my student to really analyze the sound. Okay, what is the first sound you hear? S. Write the letter that makes this sound. What is the last sound? T. Write the letter that makes this sound. Now, read the word. We're going to start at the beginning, sat. Now, write the word. Okay, that is a way you can practice those sight words or high frequency words with your student. Now, some words we consider to be tricky or heart words. These are words that don't follow normal letter sound correspondences, and we have to do a little bit more analysis. Some people call these irregular words. The thing to remember about irregular words is that usually it's only one small part of the word that's irregular. Everything else in the word follows normal letter sound correspondences. So let's practice. Okay, say the word was. Great. How many sounds do you hear in the word was? W, s. 3. Write a line for the number of sounds you hear. What is the last sound you hear? S. Write the letter that makes this sound. Good. What is the first sound? Was, w, w. W makes that sound. What's the middle sound? Now, this middle sound is but we use the letter A to make that sound. This letter is a rule breaker. It's a little tricky. Sometimes we call it a heart word, and we have the kids trace a heart around the letter that's not following the rules or that's tricky. And that we just have to learn that this is the way you say it. Now, when kids get older, they will learn that this is the schwa sound. But for our kinder first, we probably won't go into that. And then we're going to continue with the same procedure. Read the word, was, write the word. Once we have analyzed a word a few times in this manner, we might be able to move on to a deck of flashcards to help practice quick reading. And we also want students to read books with these words in them. When we are doing this work with children, we can't lose sight of the purpose of the work, which is to read well. As students are learning their letters and sounds, they are also reading lots of books. It is very important that they are practicing their newly learned skills in books that are at their reading level. Your child's teacher can help you with book selection. Students need massive amounts of practice with text. They need to listen to you read to them, they need to read with you, and they need to practice by themselves. No one gets better at anything without practicing.
We hope that this information has provided some background knowledge and will help you understand the reason behind some of your child's assigned activities. The two most important things you can do for your students' reading development are talk and read. If you have any questions, you can contact Ms. Linda Odle to the email address that appears on screen. Springdale Public Schools are grateful for the great families with whom we have the privilege to work with. Thank you for watching. This is Springdale. We'll be back next week.